Good morning. It is pretty early, and I'm talking pretty quiet because my wife and daughter are upstairs sleeping. It's 5:24 in the morning. I just finished up with a morning reading. Again, I'm learning how to win friends and influence people. And this entire book is about interacting with people in the best manner possible. And I know I had thought when I sat down to read the book, I had thought to myself, well, that's kind of manipulative. You're just trying to get people. And the biggest thing that I've realized is that it all comes down to intent. And I've mentioned this on one of the previous videos. This is now the 11th video, but I mentioned that it all comes down to intent. The fact that you're trying to do something good for the other person, something good for yourself, it's a win-win situation. But today's reading has everything to do with being a good listener. And being a good listener means a lot of things. Also, I want to preface the fact I'm not sitting here talking to you as the perfect executor of everything that I'm saying in this book. I'm learning too. I just figured, hey, why not put this out for everyone else to learn while I'm learning it as well? And one of the examples in the chapter today talks about Abraham Lincoln, who in history is one of the best, most famous leaders of our generation. And I remember when I was a kid, my mom got me a poster to put on my wall, and it had like Lincoln, and it had all of these things that he failed at. And then at the bottom it said, and he became the president of the United States. And one of the headlining word was perseverance. So it's a really great poster. If you're into motivational posters, just Google Abraham Lincoln poster perseverance. But anyhow, it talks about he was deep into the Civil War, and he was really contemplating whether or not slavery was going to continue or not, whether he was going to abolish it or not. And he said he called on a good friend of his to come and talk and have a discussion. Goes through the discussion, and this is from the perspective of the friend. And the friend says, so Lincoln was super appreciative, said how I was, had a great conversation, and I left. And the friend said, except I didn't say a thing the entire conversation. The only thing Lincoln needed was a listener. And he said that's what all of us need in our most dire times, is just someone to listen. And then another really cool thing from this chapter, there was a little quote that said, to be interesting, be interested. To be interesting, be interested. Meaning, show sincere interest in what the other person is talking. And then one of the other cool little anecdotes that it said at the end of the chapter, and I'm going to read this straight so I don't get it wrong, but it was talking about how we operate. I know I'm guilty of this, operate from what's inside my mind going outward, my perspective to the world. And it's not normal for us to think, well, what's the other perspective coming into the world? We operate with me, I. And this whole book is centered around doing the opposite. And it's talking about being a good listener. It's talking about showing sincere interest. This chapter is, and it says, and it's talking about how people are interested in themselves. And it says that a person's toothache means more to that person than a famine in China, which kills 1 million people. And a boil on one's neck is more important than 40 earthquakes in Africa. So remember that we're all individually operating from our perspective outward. Remember that. Be attentive. Be a good listener. To be interesting, be interested. The principle from this chapter, be a good listener, people. It starts right at home and moves outward to everyone that you interact with. Thank you very much for listening. One thing, if you appreciate this, I've been getting a lot of good feedback actually about the readings. I'm contemplating emailing this directly to you every morning so you don't miss it on social media. If it's something that you think, hey, I would like to have this emailed to my inbox every morning, just leave a comment wherever you see the video, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube. Leave a comment that says, I would like it emailed to me. It's no commitment at all. I'm just gathering some interest. I'm listening, gathering some interest to see if that's something you would all like. So remember, if you'd like me to deliver it straight to your inbox, just leave a comment, say, I'd love to have it as an email. Thank you all for listening. Talk to you tomorrow.